Hey, welcome to the David Elstein podcast. Last episode, we talked about search engine optimization, actually now how that's being used with AI. And we're actually going in a completely different direction for this episode. We're going sort of old school. We're going to talk about trade shows. But many of us who've been in marketing for, decade or decades, we've had some involvement with trade shows. So sort of want to, learn what's going on. So I decided, call my friend Rich Ryczek. He's with Elite Expo and wanted to hear what's going on in the world of trade shows. So welcome to the podcast, Rich.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's start in the background. So how did you get into industry? Like, I'm sure when you were a kid, you said, I want to be a baseball player. I want to be whatever. Kids even know what it is. So explain how you got into the field.
Oh, I got into trade shows accidentally. I'll be totally honest with you. And yes, you're right. As a kid, I wanted to become a baseball player, doctor, all that, policeman, whatever. I worked for a company called Skyway, and it was a freight company. I worked on a transfer dock, and I had a good friend. His name was Rich also. We worked together for about a year and a half. Rich didn't really like the job. He wanted to pursue other avenues. So said our goodbyes, this, that, and the other thing. 3 months later, he calls me and he's like, "Hey, Rich." I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" He's like, "Are you happy?" Like, It's a job. It pays my bills. I have kids." I says,
Right.
"What's up?" He's like, "I got a great opportunity for you." I'm like, "All right, what's up?" He's like, "Elite Expo is hiring an operations person. Would you be interested?" I'm like, "Sure." So long story short is I went in for an interview. They did hire me. I was in operations for 1 year, and operations meaning tracking freight, tracing it, making sure stuff got from A to B.
Hmm.
And I got kind of bored with that. So I went in and talked to the sales manager. I'm like, "You got any openings in sales?"
Hmm.
And he said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay." So we talked a little bit and I made the transfer to sales, which I'm currently in. And that's been now since November 99. So I've been with Elite Expo so that's how I got into the trade show industry. Totally not expecting anything really other than, working for a company and getting paid and moving forward in life.
Oh, that's great. So you mentioned Elite Expo. So what is Elite Expo, the company you work for?
So Elite Expo is a full service trade show provider, meaning that a client who exhibits at the ABC show, they would call us and say, "Yeah, I need a booth." Okay, so we can design a booth for you. We can build it for you. We can ship it to the show floor. We can install it for you after the show dismantle and then ship it to wherever else you want it to go, whether it be back to your location or to another show. We also have 3 warehouses in Aurora, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. There we handle what we call asset management, which means that the client really never touches their booth properties. They contact us, say I'm going to the ABC show. We use a inventory software program called Exhibit Force. They log on there, just like shopping at Amazon. "Yeah, I want crate 2, I want crate 4, I want crate 8 to go." Great. Once they submit it, it goes to the warehouse. They pull everything out of the crates. They set up the booth 100% to make sure that all the components are working, the lights are working, transformers are working, etc. We send an approval to the client. They say, "Yes, approved." We pack it all up and then we ship it on to the show. And then when it returns, we do a quick inspection on the return too to make sure that everything looks okay until the next time that the display needs to go out.
So you mentioned just so briefly about your this current role, but I guess a little bit more. I describe what you do for them.
I am an account executive here at Elite Expo, so I'm in sales. So I sell everything from, again, displays to shipping. If a client calls me for shipping, I ask them for, you know, pertinent details, show name, run date, city, booth number, et cetera, et cetera. I have a great assistant named Sandy. She does the research on the event and we enter that into our system. She'll let me know what we call a show code. I'll print it out. I'll email the client back and let them know, "Hey, I got the information on ABC. If you want to ship to the advanced warehouse, suggested pickup date is this. If you want to go direct to show site, shipping date is this." Once they come back to me, and let me know what ship date they want. I enter it into the system. Elite Expo provides all bill of lading, all labels, really anything you need for a trade show. And on our labels, we have a shipping label, which identifies the shipper and the consignee. We also have a show label, which identifies the show, exhibitor name, and booth number. So a general contractor like Freeman, GES, Breedy, the Expo Group, when they're
Mhm.
offloading the truck, okay, that goes to ABS, and you know what? They're in the Great Holiday AOS. We know it goes there. And then I do the return shipping the same way. We prepare outbound shipping documents in advance, give that to the client. So when they're on the show floor, all they can do is pack up, label everything, and we'll pick it up and bring it back.
As I'm recording this with you, it's almost like a Zoom name, the event doctor. No spaces. Well, who, where, what is the event doctor? Is that you or?
That is me. I am the event doctor. And how it got started is early in my years with Elite Expo, I had a client. Unfortunately, she didn't know a lot about trade shows. So she would call me on a Thursday and say, Rich, I need to get something to California on Tuesday. I'm like, okay, you know, what show, this, that, and the other thing. And she would just constantly do that over and over and over again. And I kept scratching my head going, I don't understand this. But unfortunately, in her role, she was blindsided too. So I can't fault her at all. So after about maybe 8, 10 shows like this, she's like, you're my show doctor. I'm like, what do you show doctor? What do you mean show doctor? She's like, you know what? I have a remedy. I call you, you give me a prescription, and it's fixed. It's fixed. I didn't really like the word show, so I just threw the event in there. I think people relate more to events than shows.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's interesting. So I guess let's talk about, trade shows in 2026. I just came back from a major one, but I think a lot of people, they haven't been in years, or I bet there's some people describe a trade show. What is it? I mean, everything. What does it look like? Sounds, smells like what is a trade show this year in 2026?
Oh, it's actually not funny, but ironic you say that because a lot of I play soft new team. What do you do for a living? I'm in trade shows. What? What's a trade show? So I have to go through it. A trade show is a industry where companies can exhibit their products on show floor and have their buyers come in and touch and feel. I'm old
Okay.
school. I'm 64. I'll be honest with you, I don't like buying on Amazon. I don't like buying on Home Depot's website. I like to physically go to the store, touch and feel what I'm buying. And that's exactly what a trade show is. It's touching and feeling, getting to know and to meet face to face and understand who you're buying from, who you're purchasing from, vice versa. Opportunity to sell your product. It can be expensive, but your ROI, which is return on investment, can be huge. Can be huge. Trade show floor, man. Imagine imagine city streets that are really condensed. So on a trade show floor, you have typically a 10-foot by 10-foot section where you can exhibit your product at. And those are just lined up down the aisle like cars in a parking lot.
Hmm.
And then you have your aisle, which is when you drive through a parking lot, you pick a space. It's the same thing, same concept. Buyers, consumers will walk down the aisle and look at both sides of the aisle and see what they may be interested in. If they're interested, they stop in the booth. They talk to the staff in that booth, and the staff explains what their product is and hopes to, sell it eventually. Smells, a lot of cologne, a lot of perfume.
Okay.
Uh, but the show floors it's something that is really hard to explain. You really have to experience it. Now, I don't know if I should mention this, but we were involved in a cannabis trade show back in the day. It was called Champs, great trade show. It was
Hmm.
for obviously cannabis. It was for vape. It was for paraphernalia, this, that, and the other thing. And all I'm going to say to that is that floor was buzzing. Yes, pun intended. You walk onto that show floor and you would walk out feeling differently. But, yeah, trade shows are great. I mean, if, smaller companies may not have the budget for that, but, doesn't hurt to go check it out. Another analogy I like to do is I'm sure everyone has been to a craft fair.
Uh-huh.
A craft fair is like a trade show too. It's
Okay.
these small mom and pop shops. They do their crafts. They bring them to a venue and they sell them to the public. It's the same thing, except it's not called a trade show. It's called a craft fair.
Right. And I know you're involved with many major ones. I think people have no idea unless they were there what a major show is like, where some of them, would you say, are several city blocks long inside, where you might take you 15 minutes or more to go from one end to the other. And you mentioned the 10 by 10, but a lot of people have stories high in these exhibit halls, right? I mean, I guess you want to explain sort of the extremes with some of the ones that you work with in terms of
Well,
size. It's just, I think it's unimaginable.
it's absolutely crazy. And the most recent large trade show that I went to, there were boot sizes that were like 100 feet by 200 feet. Double deckers, meaning that they had a full display on the bottom, and then you would walk up to the second story for like meeting rooms and stuff like this. It's
Hmm.
absolutely crazy what some of these companies bring to a trade show. It's literally like building a house and then tearing it down. Speaking of
Yeah.
which, the moving can take 6, 7 days for the freight to get in, for labor to install or set up the entire display. But it's really strange when it only takes 2 days to tear it down. I still find that amazing. When I go to these large shows, I'm like, man, it took 5 days for this boot to be set up and it was down in 16 hours. It doesn't make any sense. But anyhow,
No.
yeah, but some
Yeah.
of these boots are awesome.
I mean, and to put in perspective, 100 feet, that's a third of a football field right there.
True.
So, and you're saying this is one. We talk
That,
about
that,
100 by
what, that,
200 or something, which I think just puts scale how big they are. So, you sort of hit on the ROI a little bit, but it why should companies exhibit back, talk about the cost of renting, good investment for companies to exhibit at whatever industry they may be in for their industry's trade show.
what we're doing now, if I was to try to sell you something, would be totally different than if I walked in and actually physically met you, shook your hand, and tried to sell you something. It's face-to-face marketing. It'll never face to face will never go away. That's how everyone buys. Well, I think everyone buys, but that's how everyone should buy. Get to know your buyer, get to know your seller. As far as exhibiting, yeah, it can be very expensive, especially for some of these larger companies that do the 100 by 200 foot booth space. And I'm not talking they staff it with 5 people. They have 100,
Right.
150 people in that booth. So think about everything that is related to that. Not only the booth cost, the labor, the booth space, on show floor. You got all of your staff members there. They got airfares, they got taxis, they got hotels, they got per diems. I mean, I can go on and on and on and
Right.
on. So, what I th- what sure of you heard as a term when you're selling a house, your house has to have curb appeal.
Right.
I like to think of exhibiting when you're going to exhibit at a trade show, have aisle appeal, meaning have something pop in your booth that is going to draw the attention to your attendee, whether it be a flashing light, maybe a wheel spin for giveaways. Back in the day, it was huge having like a magician in your booth. That's kind of gone away. The eye, the attendee, because when they're walking down the aisle, not only are there probably 100 other people in that aisle, but you're walking past booths that are only 10 feet. Most of them are only 10 feet wide. You have some that are 10 by 20s, 10 by 30s, what we talked
Right.
about. But what you want to do is you want to capture the eye of that attendee by going, hey, what's that? Even if they're not interested in your product, they may be. You don't know until you can get
Right.
them in your booth and talk to them.
And as you know, I assume it's gone away. That it was called the booth babes or whatever they were called at the
Yes.
trade shows
Yeah.
that were to attract men. They would be the beautiful women. I assume it worked to get, and that's how you get people to the booth. I mean, we're in a different time period now, but I mean, I'm not exaggerating, right? I mean, that's what
No,
a lot of
you're not exact agency that, how do I put this? Not sold, but that's all they, because it goes both ways. Let's be honest with you.
they don't discriminate.
But yeah, there was a model agency that just did that.
That's amazing.
If you want a beautiful looking woman or a handsome young man in your booth, you call this company. Yeah, sure. We'll send out how many you want.
That's
Another thing too is, which was big in the day, and I still think it is always maybe try to have something interactive in your booth, whether it's an old arcade game or a touch screen monitor or something like that. People like to play.
and I guess also people love the giveaways. I think
Mm.
part of it, you almost people just sometimes grab with groups I've been with. We spend a lot of time thinking about that. We want something that they will bring home and they will keep, not something that they'll just, throw away. Something, oh, that reminds them of who we are. I think it's a fun challenge, but a challenge because you're competing with all the other giveaways. I mean, everyone's giving away the pens, everyone's giving whatever. So trying to find or even think, okay, if we do something, let's make it a little bit different. A pen, I don't know, make it a different color or something to
Right.
stand out because yes, everyone is doing something.
You definitely want to have that attendee leave with some sort of your branding. What you do is entirely up to you. But obviously, like you said, you don't want to give away something that they're just going to bring home and throw in a drawer. You want them to use something. I've been seeing a lot of keychains, a lot of koozies, not mugs, but one of my clients actually made this. It's really cool. It's a knockdown bottle. It's only about this high, but it goes up to about that high. It holds about maybe 16 ounces of water. You're done with it, wash it out, put it back down, and you reuse it. Stuff like that is helpful to brand your company's name out there.
I think that the worst compliment when someone comes to your booth and say, "Oh, this is great. My kids will like it." No, personally for you. I mean, unless you're at a toy company, or unless you're 80 years old and your kid is 50 or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
no, this is for so. Or, yes, but the one I tell you that we did those yo-yos were a hit. It brought
Yeah,
back people's youth.
go figure.
But they don't just take it. They just they stand out your booth and do it down so people attracts people that way.
Yep.
Well, those yo-yos and that gets you over. So I was told it was gonna work. I was like, whatever, and it was. I've been telling other people about that. Everyone who I've talked to about that said it's good and it's relatively inexpensive. You have your
Right.
name on it. Yes, maybe your kids eventually will get it, but at least we'll draw people in. But
Yep.
yeah.
Something as simple as a yo-yo can bring an attendee into your booth. They're like, "Oh, that's cool. What is that?"
Well, the funny thing is we were ahead of our time, so that's probably 2019, probably 18. We had hand sanitizer
Yes.
before it's cool, but the now everyone's had it. But the thing we had, it was like a spray that almost looked like Banaka. So
Yeah.
people would sometimes try to, spray it. No, 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 it's hand
No.
sanitizer. 'Cause it's not like, the point of all these things, you're not supposed to describe what it is. You're supposed to figure out what it is, but
Right.
once again, maybe it was in a squeeze bottle, maybe people would realize it, but it was I mean, everyone knew what sanitizer was in 2019, but it didn't come so where you saw it every single bit of our time. Um,
Yeah.
we talk about the expensive endeavor for companies, but what about attendees? I mean, even let's just say hypothetically, if the trade show is free to get in, there's still always say before the cost, and not only the cost of hotels, airfare, but the time away from their office. So they're quote unquote not making money because they are at this trade show all day or whatever it is. So what's as on the other end as a buyer? Why do I want to go to the trade shows? Maybe I don't want to talk to people. You mentioned before, I like Amazon. I don't want to talk to people. Most people in life, they hate going to buying cars because
Agree. Yeah.
salesmen. So what's the pitch to people going to whatever industry
Well,
trade show?
each is different. So do what you feel is comfortable. If you don't want to attend a trade show, you don't have to. If you do attend a trade show, meet someone face to face, shake their hand, and say, "Hey, I'm Bob. I'm the one who's buying from you. And what do you got new for me?" If you do plan to attend a trade show, make sure it's your industry specific. You don't want to go to a car show if you're looking for a medical show, if you're looking for a plant. Let's put it that way, because there's literally a trade show for every industry. It is absolutely crazy
Right.
how many trade shows there are and how many. I want to go to the ABC show. Why? Because these exhibitors, they have product that I'm interested in, and I want to go and I want to touch and feel them. So do your homework, find out who's going, who's going to be there, and find out what booth number they're in. That's big help. If you're looking at 3 or 4 exhibitors that you're interested in their products, find out their booth number. Go to those 4 specific booths first and then stroll the floor, because when you stroll the floor, you will sometimes just get lost, and I don't mean lost, I just mean you're not gonna be focused, because I will say that the 4 exhibitors that you did go to see, I guarantee you there's probably 4 more others on the floor that may have a better product at a better price. So, definitely walk the floor and see what's out there.
I guess, that's a good point. So how do you find those other 4 where they're even a small show be dozens of dozens, and forgetting about the bigger ones that are hundreds, of some of these I think are thousands of booths, some of these really large ones. So, I mean, do you have a certain, truly a game plan? Because a lot of the point going to a trade show is to meet potentially new vendors that you don't
True.
know. How do you find them? I guess, is there a plan? Like, do you should you sit down with a map? Should you say pace yourself? I don't know. I mean, you could spend some of these places days, even just slowly walking up and down, you were saying not
Yeah.
literally. I think you literally can get lost.
You probably could, yeah. So if I was attending a trade show, when you sign up, you get an exhibitor list and the
Okay.
detailed on what that exhibitor is going to provide to, consumers and buyers. So it's away time from your current job, your what you have to do, but do take some time and go if you may find 4 others that you wanna see too. So now you got 8 booths that you wanna see, 4 A booths and 4 B booths. As far as walking the floor, I mean, that's kind of I don't wanna say a roll of the dice, David, but it is almost a
Uh,
roll of the dice, because you're gonna be walking down an aisle and every aisle usually has exhibitors. So you're gonna have to do this, the neck on the swivel and go, yeah, no, it doesn't attract me. I don't know what they do anyhow, so let's move on. But then that one exhibit that you just passed could be your A. So try to do as much homework as possible when you do attend a show. Uh, Also, while attending a show too, and for especially for the newbies, do your homework on where the show, like Ernest Memorial Convention. There's certain areas in New Orleans where you do not want to stay, and I'm not trying to scare anyone. Just do your homework of where you're gonna stay at a hotel, because sometimes a hotel that's close to a venue is not gonna be the best option, meaning safe.
no, that's good to know. And actually, what you were saying made me want to get back to the exhibitors, because you're saying yes, you're looking left, you're looking right, and especially if you're just almost walking aimlessly, they have to get you. I don't know, within 2 seconds if you're an exhibitor. I mean, and you can't be generic. You have almost no time to make a first impression, especially, whatever. If you're at a fast food trade show, okay, I'm going to McDonald's, but if you're this small place, that does not have a name like that. I mean, bring
And
the
and out
magician back.
Yeah, and there was a study that was done a while ago. I don't know if it's currently accurate, but they said that you have 1.5 seconds to capture an attendee's attention.
And it's because, especially the big ones, because if you spend 5 seconds looking at each one, I mean,
Yep.
you can think how long that takes.
Right.
So, yeah, this is a topic people are like, I told a couple people, trade shows? What? Those things are still around. And the thing I know, I have this theory. I want to see, if what you think of it. So,
Sure.
trade shows were really big. I don't know, 80s and 90s, was a thing. And then one thing that happened was 9/11, when my first major trade shows was major cable television show out in it was actually in November. Actually, it was just after Thanksgiving. The poor people in your position would have to work on Thanksgiving to get everything set up, but it was in one. So that was just a couple months later. So I would hear these stories that, oh, you should MTV every year would have great parties. My group would get invitations, or all these other ESPN would have amazing things, and then it's like it was not nearly the same. And eventually, that trade show went out of business. So I think that was literally everything shut down. And then when things were opening back up, there's two things. One, do I really want to be in a space with thousands and thousands? There was not this. It was pick up a phone. There's no alternative. So yes,
Right.
now maybe, oh, I can do Zoom. So it, how accurate is my thesis that people, it's just not the thing to do anymore, because either they have the technology or there's other two events sort of hurt the industry over the long run.
No, I think you're very accurate on your thesis. Again, I started back with Elite in '98, and 3 years later, 9/11 hit, and I'm like, I mean, what's going to happen? I remember I was in sales and doing what I'm doing now, shipping, and it was like everyone was like, I don't want to say freaking out, but I mean, I had clients that were doing 20 by 40s, and next time I called them, they're like, yeah, we're just going to bring a banner to the show. Nothing you can do. And then, yeah, COVID, you just hit the nail on the head. COVID shut the industry down for about 18 months. I actually thought that I wouldn't get through. Thank goodness the owners of Elite did their due diligence and did a lot for their employee and held on. Actually, that's when Elite Expo started to get into more of an exhibit house aspect of it, meaning asset management, I&D, product displays, this, that, and the other thing. It was actually a great idea and a great marketing strategy for him because we're we're going really balls out with that. I mean, it's huge as far as the industry today. Again, you're right. It's not the same as it was before COVID, but it's certainly coming back. It's still trying to come back strong. I think it is coming back strong,
Yeah.
but we have a little ways to go as long as nothing else happens.
Sure. And I think the thing that we take for granted now is during all three of them. I'm really thinking of September 11th and the pandemic, because those are both sort of true events, so whatever, that really shut down everything. We didn't know when it was going to get back.
Agree.
And it was a thing. And I remember when they talked about, thinking about whether they're going to close schools. It's probably going to be at least 6 weeks they have to do. Like, still going to close schools for 6 weeks?
Right.
And now it's like, wait, if it was only 6 weeks, I mean, so I think part of that is, I mean, it's good we all got out of it, but same thing with between September 11th back to normal. And I think during that time, especially, you're so hard hit that I just can't even imagine that, yes, we're on the other side. We're having, we're laughing, not just about that, but just in general. But I think at the time it was like, oh my God, is this going to end? But so
It
even about that, so I guess certain industries that you would say are back to normal in the sense, oh, their trade shows are still big. They're probably still going to be big, whether it's for doctors or construction industry or something like that. It's
You
back
you
to normal.
actually you actually nailed both of those on the head. Medical and construction are huge in the trade show industry. They need or you yeah, medical and construction, I don't think are ever going to go away because let's be honest, the society needs medical and the society needs
Right.
construction.
Yeah. So, what's the future for trade shows? If you and I talk in 5 years or 10 years, are we going to say that the best days are behind us? That things are going? Who's it? Yogi Berra said, "What predictions are tough to make, especially about the future."
Right.
So,
That's true.
if you're crystal ball, what would you say?
Well, I mean, I think in 5 years, I think we're going to be stronger in the trade show industry as long as no new event pops up, let's put it that way. 10 year, I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure. I'm hoping we're going to be just as strong as we are, if not strong. Again, I don't think trade shows are ever going to go away. I really don't. Even with all the technology we have out there, I still think that companies like to go to these events. It's a good opportunity too for an exhibiting company to bring in staff members from different parts of the country that they may not even see. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Other
Good
than
point.
Zoom meetings, you know. So you get to meet him, you get to talk to him, I'm confident, but
Right.
I'm optimistic. Let's put it that way. We're gonna
That's
we're gonna be bigger, stronger, and better.
that's that's great. And I guess, since a lot of people watch this are in communications and marketing, any advice? You shouldn't do this with the exhibit. Everyone is doing. I don't know, just think red or, ways that they can make themselves stand out besides the magician or besides giveaways or things that you see that communicators, marketers could do to make their company stand out when, yes, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of companies on the trade shows floor.
That's a good question. Every company has a color scheme, let's put it that way.
Mhm.
So you definitely want to use that color scheme in your exhibit display and even possibly your flooring, your shirts. Elite Expo is known for pink. I wear pink shirts all the time.
And it gets attention. The pink is not a color a lot of people use, so that I mean,
Right.
it's I like that. Yeah, I can see in the background that pink and bluish. It's a good combination.
Make sure your display area is lit. Don't rely on the venue, whether it be a hotel ballroom or a big convention center. Don't rely on their lighting because there may be a light that might angle differently to make your exhibit area dark. Spend the extra $20, $40 on a
Feel the difference and walking through the companies that will spend extra, and when you've been walking all day, that I think that's another thing. Just think about it. That's nice. Not just the color, but I think the thickness, which I think gets people attention too. It's like we look, sounds, oh, and that may just stop you just for a second.
You know what I've been seeing a little bit more often these days is exhibiting companies bringing in either massage chairs or actually masseuses
Hmm.
that, well, like you just mentioned it,
Yeah.
you're walking the show floor for 2, 3 hours, your dogs are going to hurt. Let's be honest with you. So if you can sit in a chair and have your foot massaged while talking to someone about their product, again, it's aisle appeal. You gotta grab their attention really quick in order for them to even pay attention to you. Now, I will say that most of the attendees, they do have an agenda. They have booth numbers written down that they want to see, but
Mhm.
there's other attendees that are might be there for the first time at this show and not even know who or where to go to. So again, do your homework, try to figure out what companies interest you, what products they have that interest you, and just walk the floor because the floor is amazing and you will see some interesting.
It's a lot of walking. I think I could say it 50 times and people still don't believe me. So wear comfortable shoes. I mean, there's
Absolutely.
a lot of places have their own, quote unquote dress codes. Is it business casual? Is
Right.
it true business? But I'm sure you could find something because when I say it, there's some of them are lightly carpeted or not carpeted, or just if you're walking a football field many times, back and forth, you would want that. So, okay,
Exactly.
final question for you. This is gonna
Yes.
be a fun one, a little bit different. So, I
Okay.
know you're an umpire. Are you still an umpire, or that was a past life for you?
No, I'm still umpiring part
Still
time.
okay, still an umpire, and I know, at least according to LinkedIn, you either were or are a storm chaser.
I Well, let's say I am still a storm chaser, but I was born and raised in Illinois,
Okay.
and the Midwest was always known for severe storms.
Yes. Okay.
In fact, back in November of 13, if people remember, Washington, Illinois got devastated by an EF5 tornado.
Okay.
Horrible. Um, I'm happy to say, and I'm also sad to say that our Facebook page, it was incredible, but something that was, as much as it was interesting to see and exciting to see the amount of devastation that it did was heartbreaking. It really was. Here in Florida, we get a lot of pop-up thunderstorms, nothing like the Midwest. So I
Right.
still go outside and
So, all these challenging industries, being a storm chaser, being an umpire, but are those nearly as challenging and stressful as making a trade show successful? Which is the most challenging?
I would have to say a trade show. I mean, there's a
And I
lot.
set you up for that, but yes, no, I think it's a
Yeah, there's a lot involved in going to a trade show, whether you're an attendee or an exhibiting company. I think exhibiting companies may have a little bit more more on the scale of the stress level, but yeah, it's a trade show is not easy. I don't want to scare anyone, but it's
no.
not easy. But it's definitely can be certainly very, very rewarding.
Okay. Well, Rich, I thank you for your time. And this has been honestly very interesting for me. And I really hope that, the viewers and listeners enjoy themselves. I really appreciate you taking the time to join
No
me.
problem. Thanks for having me. Take care.